All right, we are live. Hopefully, my audio is good. I think my levels should be decent. For those of you that you don't know who I am or what I do, my name is Greg or the real gLo. If you see the title in the social media channels. We are live on hopefully Twitter. I had some issues with it, some connecting security issues. Also on Twitch and also on YouTube. I have a feeling my Twitter will be disconnected at this time because I am not a techie expert, but I'm going to do this for good measure to put it out there so everything is documented on what I do. You can call this a podcast. I'm calling it, what do you call these things? The gLo Sessions episode 10. And this is my Monday broadcast. And we're going to talk a little bit about obviously Maui fires, which is ongoing, continuing. I'm gonna go into my Twitter to see if we are live. I have a feeling it's not, but I'm gonna play a video, and I want you guys to give me your honest opinion for those that are gonna be in replay. I have a feeling it'll be, "Oh, I am live on Twitter. What the heck? It works. Yay, it works." Okay, here we go. Play this video.
Audience, but I will make this case. Smart, smart legislatures and governments will make good investment in fire mitigation.
Okay, so I don't know if you caught that, but I'm gonna play President Biden. Okay, here we go.
On Maui, when I walk out of this room and go to the cabinet room where I'm meeting in just a few minutes.
Okay, so they didn't play the whole thing, but I'm gonna play. So this is the governor of Hawaii, Governor Josh Green. He mentioned something. He says smart, and he didn't quite finish the word. So we'll talk about it in just a second.
Usual thing for a person like me to get to speak to a very broad audience, a broad international audience, but I will make this case. Smart, smart legislatures and governments will make good investment in fire mitigation.
Okay, so I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but he did almost complete the word cities. So if you don't know what that is, stay tuned. We'll talk about it in just a second. This would be a fast intro video. I'm making some new videos to play around. So here we go. We'll be back in 3 seconds. Faster than 3 seconds. So if you don't know what smart cities is, first of all, let me acknowledge my YouTube viewer. Thank you for being here. I I had issues connecting to my Twitter on my iPad, my Mac, and on my cell phone. I got kicked out. I had a whole drama, a little mini drama regarding that. But um, so in that video, Josh Green, the mayor of no, the governor of Hawaii, uh, he almost slipped and said, um, he almost said smart cities. So if anyone is familiar with the term smart cities, there is a discussion surrounding how Lahaina was going to be like a test market or and conspiracy theory or not, I think it was already in discussion even prior to the fires. So there is documentation of a summit or a meeting regarding these steps towards making Hawaii one of the leaders in building a smart city. So and guys, I'm not an expert in all this, so I may mumble jumble some of the words. So, but a smart city is kind of like a 15-minute city. I think they're one and the same. Somebody can correct me in comments later on. But what they are designed to do is to bring a community of people within a certain, I don't know the measurements, but let's say within a certain square mileage or whatever it may be, where it's 15 minutes to anywhere, to the doctor, to your school, groceries, to the gym, to the parks, all that is all within 15 minutes. And it's all connected, technologically advanced, all that stuff. And at the heart of a lot of these cities, in order to make it work, you have to have a very good internet connection, aka network, 5G. So if you have Verizon, you would have 5G ultra wideband. So if you may see in your phone on the top right hand of your screen, you may see 5G UW. That means ultra wideband. All that means is um, Verizon by far, I think, is the fastest uh, provider of a 5G network because they have a much wider. I sound like a techie, but I'm not a techie person. But anyways, so anyways, that lays the groundwork for a smart city. And Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii, almost slipped and said that. And had he said that, he would have been in so much trouble in regards to all the people that would say, "I got you, got him," because that is one of the theories in regards to the Maui fires, as to why the city had been decimated in the way that it has. And I'm not going to subscribe to any of those conspiracy theories yet, but I will acknowledge that the information's out there. Hey, Tala out there on Twitch. So, um, sorry, I'm looking at my stats. So, um, the fact that I don't know if Tala has seen the video. I'm gonna play this video many times. So if you catch Josh Green, he almost says smart cities.
Usual thing for a person like me to get to speak to a very broad audience, a broad international audience. But I will make this case: smart, smart legislatures and governments will make good investment in fire mitigation.
So some people say got him, and so I say all that, guys, not is not to stir up the conspiracy nest, but the conversation is out there. The conversation is out there in terms of people wanting to use the land, and part of that is blaming people. And um, Freudian slip, yeah, for sure. Well, it was already a discussion prior to the fires, so that's why the conspiracy theorists are eating this up, right? They already had a summit planned, I think this month or next month, in regards to how we can make Hawaii a leader in building these smart cities. So it was already in discussion. So, you know, that it's just funny that he slipped in the middle of a press conference. And even President Biden had said something. I'm going to try to play it again, but he had said that he already had someone in the ground on the ground a week before the events happened. I'm going to try to play it, and it may not play all the way through. I'm going to try it one more time.
Want to restore that part of the island like it was before, only better. To that end, when I was on the island last week, I appointed Bob Fenton, one of the nation's leading emergency managers, and I mean that, that's not hyperbole, who's been on the ground in Hawaii since before the fires erupted as our chief federal response coordinator to lead our long-term recovery on Maui. I've charged him with making sure the community has everything the federal government can offer to heal and build back better as fast as possible. He'll be giving me a report virtually on Maui when I walk out of this room and go to the cabinet room of our meeting in just a few minutes.
So he was, if you call what he said, that he was already there. So a lot of people think, well, why was he there in the first place? Why was he there? Right. So a whole bunch of stuff like this is popping up. And there's a whole lot of other things that are popping up. Um, I should have saved the video. I don't think I did, but there's a great interview with Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Rogan, and of course had BJ Penn on there. So anybody that knows BJ Penn or UFC, so BJ Penn is one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, and he just so happens to be from Hawaii. Just happens to be from the same town that I'm from, and so anyways, long story short, they went on Joe Rogan's show, talked about a whole array of issues and a whole bunch of conspiracy theories. But the main thing that Tulsi Gabbard had covered was through all of that, the communication was very poor for whatever reason. And so, it leads to the fact that whether they were hiding something or not, the communication should have been out there regardless, So, but anyways, I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about Hawaii, but hey Tala, I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to try. Uh, I did watch a couple of her videos. So if you guys are not following Tala, that's her name up on here. She's on Twitch, also actually all social media platforms. But she posts up motivational videos, and she posts up videos of her walking up steps, which is not motivating for me. So it's like, what the heck, walking up steps? But yeah, I totally get it. If you're gonna hike up, 10,000 feet elevation, you better be in some shape. So um, today is Monday, and so first let me say I'm glad that my Twitter is working, because I was kicked out of my own Twitter because I tried to log in on my iPad, on my Mac, and Well, anyways, there was a red flag, so they kicked me out. I had to email them, and so I'm glad it works. So, but it happens, and I think my 2FA or 2FA, my two-factor authentication is off. So we shall see um, what happens. And so I don't know if I have my security set up or not, but let me read this comment. So there's a time when I couldn't step up or down and say, "That's pretty awesome, Tala." And like before, Tala, the invitation is open if you want to chime in and say hello. I'm gonna answer this text real quick. I know we don't do this when I'm live, but let's see. It's 2 days. 2 days. Sorry. There we go. Okay. There's a time when I couldn't step up or down stairs at all, and you know what? I will say that's pretty amazing. The fact that hey, what's up, Graham on YouTube? Good to see you, brother. And honestly, guys, I'm doing these podcasts just as an excuse to talk story and to get my talking skills back up to what they used to be. So I love the avatar, Graham. Good to see you, brother. So for those that don't know, we are live on Twitter, X, Twitch, and YouTube. So this is her usernames: Tala No Excuses, Tala underscore No Excuses, and First Light Warrior across all the major platforms. There's a feature on this so I have a sound interface that I can do call-ins, like, with my telephone. I just don't know how to do it yet. I haven't figured it out. So we can actually do actual audio phone calls, and there'll be, like, a little picture I think I can do, and it'll do audio. Oh, you can't comment on Twitter right now? Shoot, I forgot to have it open. I didn't even check. I kept looking at it, but I wasn't looking for comments. There we go. Yeah, that's weird. They won't let me comment either. That's funny. Well, I guess you can't comment. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Aloha. There we go. I can comment. Yeah, I can do call-ins, so it'd be like old school, like WKRP in Cincinnati kind of a deal, you know? Yeah. I'm actually gonna be headed to I'll be on another road trip, so I'll be leaving tomorrow. Um, and I'll be in another city. I'll be in Portland. I'm usually in Portland a lot anyway. Um, here's the funny thing. It dropped down to high 30s last week at night at my place, and now it's gonna be back up to like 90 in the daytime. It's really bipolar weather here in Central Oregon. So, real quick, how's my audio, by the way? Graham and Tala, I know you guys are in here, but how is my audio? I don't I I don't know how if it's too forceful or whatnot, if it's too much highs. I gotta go back and listen to it. But I got a new mic, so I got a Shure uh mic that's made for this. So it looks fancy, but I still don't know how to use it. So sounds good. Okay. I'm gonna go back and watch the audio levels and stuff. So and I'm working on my lighting. So I notice my lighting when I'm live on screen on my computer looks I look real orangey, but when I go on my phone, I look okay somewhat. I still look orangey. Yeah. All good? Okay, cool. Well, here's the question. What is so today is the 11th, September 11th, right? Today is 11th, right? Let me double check before. Do you guys remember where you were September 11th? I can tell you exactly where I was. Man, I was Honolulu, Hawaii. I was working, and at the time I was working security at the airport. We were a part of a um, I can't remember what I think I was part of the bike crew or so I forget. But anyway, no, was I? I honestly can't remember. It's so far back. But yeah, I remember we had to shut down the whole airport. It was crazy. It was surreal. You're talking about an airport. So this airport, Honolulu International Airport, brings in about I think 24 million visitors a year. 24 million people, maybe not visitors. 24 million people fly in that airport every year. That's more than Portland. I believe that's more than Seattle. I believe that's more than most California airports, with the exception of LAX. I think LAX does a little bit more. Let me look it up. But 24 million passengers versus, and so from that to zero, it's pretty crazy. The call-in feature, yeah. I think I would need a wire. I don't know. I think I would need a wire or something, because I tried Bluetooth and it didn't quite work. So I worked for Bay Area cab company at the time. It was intense. Okay, so LAX beats Hawaii. So Honolulu Airport brings in about 24 million passengers. LAX brings in 32 million passengers. In scale, that's pretty awesome. You think about it, for such a small state to bring in 24 million passengers. We handled constant calls from canceled flights. I believe it. I was working, so in Hawaii at the time, it was like three. It was around 3 a.m., 2:30, 3 a.m. We got the call. We had to shut down everything. It was crazy. There's a lot of, I mean, it was. I've never seen an airport where every plane and all the planes, the engines were shut off. It was crazy. And normally the airports are loud, right? So I remember that from, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Plus the bay was known for a target zone. We were scared. I think any place with population, uh, right? Because that was one of the things that we had been briefed on, was any place that has a high population was going to be targeted, and high population meaning, millions versus a small town. So I can't even imagine like being in New York, right? Well, what to go back to Hawaii, what the language they're using for, like, let's say Hawaii, because of a disaster like that, is, so anytime there's a major disaster where state and federal agencies get called into the situation, now they have a say so, right? Gigi Bridge and the Transamerica Building were known as specific targets. So, and I'll be honest with you, Tal, like being at an international airport, every single airport was a target. That's hands down, right? Any place with population, you figure they hit the targets. They hit the World Trade Center, what, 3,000, 4,000 people, and I'm sure they were targeting a lot more than that. So any place with population, any place with a lot of collateral damage was a target. At least that's what. And I remember the law enforcement, the police, um, they're just going through all the all the streets, and just on the megaphone telling everybody, go home, stay home until further notice. And that was pretty surreal. It's pretty amazing. Like, and because of that, the Transportation Security Administration was conceived, and so that created a whole bunch of jobs. And I remember, there weren't enough people to fill up those positions. Constant fighter jet patrols up and down the coast. It was hard to sleep at night. Yeah. So if you've ever been to Honolulu, because we have Pearl Harbor, right? So Pearl Harbor and Hickam Air Force Base. So that's one of the things that you like. They always have jets flying over. So it was different because the jets now stopped, right? Because of the flights that stopped. But now there's a difference in the jets that you hear, right? There's you can hear the difference. So Airbro, if you know Larry, Airbro 808, I believe he was already in his company, or his battalion, whatever it's called. They're the first guys that they call. So Larry Santos, or his crew, is the first one they call. Any type of threat to the state, they're the first guys they call, because they have the F-22s and all that. So that's excuse me. That's him. That's his crew. That's his peeps. That's his people. And Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in 9/11. I will never forget. That was 20 what, 22 years ago? I can't even do the math. Yeah. So when are you going live again, Tala? Are you gonna go live on Instagram? What I don't see you go live uh on X much. I'm definitely invested in X just because of what they have in the pipeline. That's what I see anyway. But sorry, I was reading my messages. Going back to Hawaii, and I didn't finish the thought, but because of there's state, federal agencies that jumped in to help manage what happened in Maui. Now they have a foothold on what they can say and do. So, give an example. There was a like a proclamation, emergency proclamation made by the governor, which gives them authority to uh, uh, draw definitions on land. And I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. But basically, they can come in and say, "Well, this property, this land, we're gonna designate it as a memorial. We're gonna honor the people of Hawaii, the people of Maui, people of Lahaina." Well, the problem with that is, whose land are you gonna declare? Like, and how much do you section off? And people are immediately see that as red flags because wait a minute, you're gonna take land that belong to the people, and you're gonna do what with it? And that was the honest discussion, right? So I think when that type of person, the public figure, comes in, and when he says stuff like when he almost slipped and said "smart cities" in a press conference, it makes you wonder. Okay, the other thing that I wish I had more visuals for it, but I did see that Elon Musk had sent um, quite a bit of Starlink. I think it's called Starlink, which is the infrastructure for internet, basically internet that connects to satellites. 22 years. That's what I thought. And so with that Starlink, he's able to connect um, families, right? So via what it can be social media platforms, it can be, you know, Wi-Fi based, internet based. And I don't what I this is what I see from a governmental standpoint. That is not something that you have written into your policies or emergency procedures because that's a private it's a private company coming in and offering the people resources to take care of themselves. And to go to Elon Musk, I gotta talk about him for a second because I watched an interview with him and what's his name, Bill Maher. I think that's how you say it. Meyer. I'm gonna say Meyer just to make it easy. Bill Meyer has been for years uh, uh, a pillar in the broadcast community for people that are on the liberal side. Sorry, not necessarily the left side, but more liberal. He's very proud to announce and talk about that he's a liberal, and like him or hate him, he's been very consistent in that viewpoint. He always, and the thing is, he's a comedian, so he would always make fun of people and sometimes very distasteful. But there was an interview with him and Elon Musk a few months ago, prior to the take or right after the purchase of Twitter. And the many things they discussed was the fact that Elon Musk has, um, I guess he would consider an old school liberal. Yeah, that Elon Musk is providing the people the freedom to communicate via Starlink with internet. He's giving people the freedom to be not in bondage to the oil industry. And he's also giving people the freedom to communicate without boundaries on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And then he's on the rocket side, he's offered a glimpse into the future, which whether we agree, I don't. It's kind of wacky that he wants to go to Mars and populate Mars. That's to me, that's wacky. But then the other part is these tunnels that he plans on building, which I've been through one, and I will say it's pretty cool. But the fact that he's provided all these avenues, you know, for us to have freedom to communicate. I don't believe in the legislation that California passed. So California already passed, I believe, a bill that creates a mandate. So by whatever year it is that they have to, everybody has to have an electric vehicle, and that's just crazy to me. Like I know it's possible, but it doesn't make sense because first of all, you're taking away the freedom of choice for people to choose what type of vehicle they want. And second of all, when you have a natural disaster and you rely on a power grid, when a power grid gets taken up by a natural disaster, where your people are gonna they're not gonna be able to drive unless you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So, but I say all that. What else? And of course, Twitter. The fact to be able to communicate is it 2035? That's pretty far off from now, right? Well, not too far. It'll be here before we know it. But to make it a mandate, that's insane. To make it a requirement is crazy. I think that's crazy. Yeah. Just recently, a woman was locked in a car because the locks are electronic. Well, if it was a Tesla, then that's her fault because uh, anybody that owns a Tesla, my brother used to have a Tesla. Anybody that owns a Tesla knows, or they should know, that there's a manual feature. So all you do is you pull up this little lever or there's like a tab, and you put in, and the door opens manually, and it's right there. Whether it's right where you put your, it's right where you would traditionally pull a door, and yeah. 'Cause other than that, they have a push button. You know, most Teslas have a push button door, and it does electronic. Well, it's actually all electric cars. All electric cars are required to have a manual unlock fee, but if you had a Tesla, I know where that one is. It's pretty simple. Yeah, they're not legally allowed to have a car that is strictly only electronic opening it. So that's just ignorance on her part. Yeah, because it is illegal to create an electric vehicle with electric doors and locked and not have a manual feature. And somebody can correct me, but I'm pretty sure it's a man. Like you can't do that. It's yeah, it's just ignorance, honestly. And I don't mean ignorant and stupid. Ignorance by definition means uninformed or not knowing. So I'm not calling her stupid, or that's just ignorance. Yeah. But see, that's the funny thing, right? When we have so much smart technology, sometimes we forget that maybe we should actually read up on it, or we should know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, I see. I had to clarify because growing up, whenever we called someone ignorant, we would think they were calling them stupid, but that's not true. We're just calling them. They're just they don't know what they're talking about. Big difference. Yeah. Let me look it up. Make sure I'm. What is the definition of ignorance?
Here's the definition of ignorance: lack of knowledge or
Yeah,
information.
that's it. Are all electric vehicles required to have manual door opening?
According to Consumer Reports, some vehicles with electronic interior door releases, including the Tesla Model Y and Model 3, do not have a manual rear door release. Others have more complex ones. On a Tesla Model X with non-functioning powered rear Falcon doors, you must first remove a speaker grill before pulling on a release cable.
Okay, so she said rear. So let me read. Some Model 3 don't have a manual rear door. Okay, so the fronts have that I know. So others have worked on a Tesla Model X with non-functioning powered rear Falcon doors. You must first remove a speaker grill before pulling. Yeah. So here's the other question. So, well, that's for the back door because so the Model X's have they have those. So the Model X have the doors that go up. So I don't even know if it'd be relevant in that case because the door, if you're flipped over, you can't open the door. So you know what I mean? You're on your door. So safe would mean easy to access. I don't like that. Yeah. So Teslas come with manual door releases, but they can be hard to find without the owner's manual. Insider has compiled a so the it's for me, my brother's car, it was easy to find. He showed me. It was not in visual plain sight, but it's where your hand would normally be in a typical old school. Yeah. More can uh I guess so you could get locked in it technically for a minute and you could freak out and panic. Yeah. I think everybody should have one of those devices. I have one in my cars. I have in two we have our two cars here in Oregon. There's the metal device, and it's not a pinpoint, but this is a better chance of breaking a window. If you have a pen, it might break the pen, but it's better than trying to punch it with your hand. But they have these metal devices, right, with the spike in them, whatever. So accidents are chaotic. They are for sure. I don't know how we. Oh, we're talking about EVs because of Elon Musk. But going back to what Elon Musk and Bill Maher were talking about, they're talking about um, all the good that he's doing, how he's hated so much, and how people accuse him of being a right winger when they both laughed because even Bill Maher has been accused of being a right winger or a conservative because of his recent rants. And they're both like, no, we're not. I think the term that uh, Elon Musk used is that I would like to consider myself a progressive. The thing is, I think he's controversial because he says things that people don't expect someone in that position to say. Like, he's quirky, he's weird, he cracks jokes, and he's off sometimes. But I think people expect people of position to fall either left or right, and he doesn't fall in either or specific. Like, for example, he's fully vaccinated, his kids are vaccinated, but he doesn't force anybody to be vaccinated in his companies. He's not now whatever laws, whatever, right? Yeah, the thing is, uh, people like Elon Musk, they're never going to be categorized in a political category because they define those categories, right? If you think about it, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Andrew Carnegie. So Andrew Carnegie was a multi-millionaire. In today's inflation prices, he actually would be a multi-billionaire, but he was responsible for building the railroads. And Andrew Carnegie had so much power um, financially that there was a story where he literally spoke to two opposing governments and told them if they don't stop their childish antics towards each other because they were on the brink of war. He told them that if you guys don't stop, I'm going to pull out all of my money out of both of your countries, and you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get your taxes and unemployment, all those things. And I don't know how the true and how detailed and things I'm missing, but there was one of my areas of study when I was in college. I was studying this man, and that was one of the stories that I read was that he had that kind of authority where he could literally change the direction of a country and how they do business. Elon Musk is the same. If that's true about Maui, how it was all orchestrated and they're doing it all for control. If that's true, people like Elon Musk are a threat to that, right? They are a threat because they offer the people authority and resources to be their own voice, to have their own communication, to have their own resources, et cetera, et cetera. So you can't define him in any category because let's say it is true, all these things about Maui. I don't think it's any particular party. I don't think it's just on that level of evil. It's not just you can't put it on a particular political party because on that level, if they're that blatant, we're talking about Oprah Winfrey. I'm gonna show a video. I don't know if I have it here, but I want to show this video real quick. Matter of fact, I want to show this video. I showed it in the last one, so I sorry you're gonna watch it again, but here we go.
Narrative that West Maui Land Company, Peter Martin and Glenn Trumbull putting out there that if they had access to the streams, that they would be able to use that to suppress the fires is false. None of these streams are connected to any county facility or fire hydrants. We feel that West Maui Land Company, Peter Martin, is taking this opportunity during hardship and suffering to take advantage of getting their agenda moving along at the expense of the people in Lahaina. My advice is to ask Governor Josh Green and Mayor Beeson to listen to the people of Lahaina, give us a chance to help design and rebuild, and stop spreading that dangerous narrative about the water issue and the hydrants running out of water, and putting it solely on what they say was the activists who helped to restore these streams. Give us the opportunity to help rebuild this town. Don't take it upon yourself. And I think in the long run, you're going to see a Lahaina that is way better off than it was in the past. Thank you.
So that was a little bit different discussion in regards to Oprah, but it talks about a lot of the um, history of the water, right? And how they're trying to put blame on a particular group. But when we connect the dots to people like Oprah, so Oprah has I think 2,000 acres on Maui. Um, there's a whole array of history in regards to the Haina and how everything was structured, and we're talking about political parties, and I think this is bigger than politics. I think this is bigger than political parties because I think this is now when you look at it, it's not the political parties left or right. They're just pawns. That's how I look at it. If this is true, they're just pawns. They're like at the bottom of the totem pole. You know what I mean? When you're talking about on that grand scale, give a perfect example. So there are still 800 something kids and people missing. The mainstream media has made a good run at trying to suppress all of that. One of the discussions is that the kids, well, where are they? Because if they're not in the rubble, then where are they really? And there's been so much crazy talk, and I think it's fair to mention it. I'm not saying I believe it, but where are they? If they're not in the rubble, if they're not among the dead, my opinion, there's potentially about, I want to say around 1,200 that are deceased. That's my number, and I might be wrong. But the kids, I don't know. And this is some craziest. And I'm careful about saying this because it's now out there. But one of the discussions is that these kids are not among the feared dead in the rubble, but that they are missing specifically as part of an agenda. And that's hard for me to say that because now it opens up some things that people may not have considered. But if that is true, then we're talking about bigger than politics. We're talking bigger than um, progressives, liberals, or conservatives. We're talking about evil entities, right? And if that's true, I mean, that'd be crazy if it is. It really would be. I mean, if you really want to dig deep into prior to the Maui incident, you can look at just look at the names involved. If you look at the people that are involved, that are in the limelight, let's do a timeline of events. When the thing happened, what happened? There was obviously chaos, but who was there from ground zero? When you look at the people that were there, why are they there so quickly, and why are they involved? I'm not saying that that's a conspiracy, but it does make you raise your eyebrow. Okay, what is really going on? Because if they're not communicating, as Tulsi Gabbard mentioned on Joe Rogan, like, okay, I get it that there's these casualties, but why are they not talking about it? Why are they talking about the 800 and 1,000, 1,200. Why is it only you cannot tell me that after a month, almost a month, that it's only 111 people that are dead. When 2,000 kids didn't register for school, and out of those 2,000, let's just say half of that, maybe they're not in Maui anymore. There's some stuff going on. So all that to say, Maui culture. And I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna play this video because I want to read some comments. There's a comment from another outlet, but this video is Kaylee Eri Shell. And I played this on my last broadcast, but I think it's fair to play it again. It talks about Maui, and so for people that don't know, Maui, in my opinion, is the least representative of Hawaii. It really is because the people that go to Maui every year, the majority of the people that travel to Maui are people from the continental United States, people that's their Hawaii. So it's kind of like cultivated for them. So it's not really the Maui that to me represents Hawaii. And it's funny because when people find out that I'm from Hawaii, if they find out that I'm not from Maui, it's like they're disappointed. Like they want to connect with people from Maui. It's weird. But I want to play this video with Kili Resha. He talks about how Maui is different and how they can move forward. And this is an old video, so this is nothing in relation to the latest fires.
And actually it's still different, very different.
Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Can you work with this?
Well, we have no choice. Yeah, that's the thing. It's difficult because you see things changing right before your eyes, and very, very quickly on Maui. If you look at Oahu as a whole, you still have these old neighborhoods that have mom and pop stores. There's lots of them on this island, and that is almost all gone on Maui, because it's a different kind of movement. It's a different kind of lack of better word, maybe progress. I'm not sure. It's difficult to see and difficult to be around sometimes, but you have no choice. You have to work with it and stand your ground.
Well, what does it mean to stand your ground?
Stand your ground meaning, that this is how we do things here. This is our mindset. I wouldn't presume to go anywhere else in the world and change how that community thinks. Yeah, because that's not my job. Yeah, my job is to meld into the community. And there are, and I'm sure it happens all over the world, and there are people that just can't meld. They just want to make it how they want to make it. And that happens kind of often on Maui. It's just different, yeah.
I think that's a perfect depiction of the moving forward part. Now we're talking about rebuilding Lahaina. What are they? How are they going to build it? Are they going to build it to be like a model satellite city, as what Josh Green had mentioned earlier in this, or are they actually going to? What I see is that it's going to be a very progressive city with a little bit of old Hawaii flair, but it's going to be a smart city. That's just my opinion. I think they're going to input the infrastructure, right? Tourists have idealistic expectations, yeah. And traveling here, so I go through this. I every week or every other week, I drive through this Indian reservation, this area called Warm Springs. It's huge. Warm Springs is huge. It's one of the largest places, I think, in the Pacific Northwest. And beautiful casino. I've never been. It's so ironic. I haven't been to any casinos yet. So, but they have a beautiful setup, and it's like, but yet you drive one street down from the casino, and it's like it's ghetto, and I'm like, that's a good example of them turning something over to an indigenous population, and that's there's so many that's a whole nother broadcast, but Hawaii, I think, would be the same. You give them, you give them full authority to run their own land, and I think that's and there's a whole history to that too, right? So I think with indigenous populations in the continental United States, they're a good example of how something didn't work, something's not working for whatever reason. 'Cause and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen a multi-million-dollar reservation property. I haven't. And I don't know if that's even on their purview or that's even on their list of goals, you know? So I haven't seen a like, I haven't been to a reservation where they, "Oh, wow, look at that beautiful house." Like, so in Hawaii, if you have Hawaiian homelands, um, technically it's not your land. You don't it's not your land to keep. You get to use it for like $1 a year, and you get like a 100-year lease. But the only way that land can be transferred to the next generation is if they have 50% bloodline of Native Hawaiian. My wife, at a default, is at 49%. My wife is 49% Native Hawaiian. I'm probably like maybe 25%. If I'm lucky, maybe 30% Native Hawaiian. My mother-in-law is 95% Native Hawaiian. That's a lot, especially in 2023. Yeah. Jim's tried to have one and didn't allow the neighboring tribe to put one near their Mesa. Is it Mesa? So the whole idea of giving the Native Hawaiians what they want, eh, I don't know how that'll look, especially when you're talking about building Lahaina. And Lahaina, let's be honest, like a lot of people that live in Maui, that they're not Native Hawaiian. I mean, I don't. That's not being negative, but the majority of people that live in Maui, in Hawaii in general, they're not Hawaiian. A lot of them were priced out of paradise. As a matter of fact, the largest Native Hawaiian population is in I want to say in Vegas. They just had a Native Hawaiian Me Mesa. Okay. So the largest conference, the Native Hawaiian conference they had for Native Hawaiians advancement was in Vegas. And a lot of them are in Washington and Oregon, California. So the remnant of Native Hawaiians in Maui are very small. Now you got mixed ethnicity, of course, like people like me, and you've got Hawaiian. I've got Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino, and all that. So I want to apologize to my Twitter family. The comments are turned off. I don't know why that is. So I do apologize. The comments are turned off. I don't know how that happened. Turn on connect to Periscope. That's so weird. Let's see what this Canada has the largest native population. Well, so they're saying that there's a housing crisis in Hawaii. I think I'll close it with this. The governor of Hawaii is saying that there is a housing shortage crisis, whatever you want to say. The truth is there's not a shortage of homes in Hawaii. There's a shortage of people in Hawaii that have homes because they can't afford to buy the ones that are available. So there's a difference. So now they're going to build affordable homes. That's their mandate. The problem is these affordable homes are not necessarily just homes, they're high rises, they're apartment complexes. So if you look at the hierarchy of how communities, and this is more actually it's anywhere you go because I've traveled a lot, right? It's the same everywhere. The richest guy gets the house on the hill. The mid-level rich guys are in the middle of the hill. Um, the top management get right at the base of the hill. All of the peons and the servants and all of the lay workers, all the people that provide services to the guys at the top of the hill, they get to live at the bottom. And because there's not a lot of land left at the bottom, because you got rich guy over here, his company is down on the bottom. So all the employees live within the 15-minute cities where they live close to their work. They live close to their services. While the rich guy at the top of the hill is best view. So the problem with affordable housing, where these people, they're going to put them all at the bottom of the hill. Let's be real. They're not going to put affordable housing near the beach. They're not going to put affordable housing on the top of the hill where they get a nice view. They're going to keep that for the rich people at the top. And so that's where the problem with this whole housing shortage is that there's a lot of houses that are not being occupied. It's the same everywhere. So there is no housing shortage. There's a shortage on people that are from the land, from Hawaii, that can't afford to buy a house because they don't know how, or they don't have a business, or they don't have that. They don't compete on that same world stage financially to where they can buy those houses. And it's not that they don't have the resources, or I mean, generation, a lot of them were taught to not compete at that level. So what do you expect? So there's not a housing shortage. There's a shortage of people not being able to afford to buy those houses because there's more than enough houses in Hawaii. There's more than enough homes than there really is. It's the same in most places. There's just a shortage of how should I put it? There's a shortage of people on that wealth category to be willing to, and it's not about giving or sharing, but to, yeah, to spread the bread. I don't know the words to use, to spread the wealth, I guess, if you will. They don't want people. Yeah, so there's another mandate coming or something, or they're trying to. I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna check my audio. I want to see how it did, and then thank you, Tala, for being my conversationalist. I apologize to my Twitter family that the comments were turned off. I don't know why that did. Why it is. I don't know how it did that because I didn't do it manually. I think that's a Twitter issue. So, but you can always mention in tweets. So, but thank you guys for being here. My replay viewers, thank you. Twitter family, I apologize for cutting you off. You don't have a voice. So until next time, let me just say thank you. I'm going to do a quiet ending. So this is my goodbye. Thank you for your time, your hearts, super hearts, not super hearts. Thank you for time, your hearts, data, all that stuff. But thank you most of all for being here. YouTube, Twitch, make sure you click that subscribe button. On X, you can't subscribe to me just yet, but hopefully soon. So we will see you guys on the next one. Until next time, God bless you guys and much aloha. So I get my fancy ending. Here we go.